Good morning, everybody. Dixie Kong here. Just coming at you with a short update. Immunity results came in last night, and finally, Gelmir has another win under our belts. I was pretty happy to win. Obviously, I've talked about kind of my concerns with respect to Celestia. Um, we'll see what happens. Nobody keyed. So the other tribal, it looks like it's going to be 8 votes, um, normal amount. And we'll see if it's just a unanimous Celestia vote or if anything interesting happens. I have a feeling people aren't going to want to rock the boat too much heading into the merge, but you never know. I do feel like Celestia is associated with some sort of majority that there seems to be an impression that she's associated with some sort of majority that involves Aerith, myself, Spyro, Ochette, and I guess Quilava by association, which is actually super interesting just because I'm getting more and more annoyed playing with Spyro and Quilava in this game. Like, I don't know. I don't really see myself trying to work with them in the long term. And if we merge next, I'm already kind of sort of making arrangements to sort of make sure that whatever ends up happening, I can avoid hopefully being an early target of any sort of majority that forms. I think on paper, say the merge happens tonight after the vote, Celestia's voted out. On paper, it seems like Gelmir has the numbers. On the other hand, there's at least 2 idols with the Lendell people. They've also got 2 extra votes, whereas we only have one with Zag. So that could essentially be like, if it's tribal lines, it's like, okay, so we hope for 9-9 and then hope that idols aren't played successfully on the other end. I think trying to keep 8 people from spilling a plan is going to be a tall order, and I don't really want to play the merge that way. So we'll see. It's interesting because if Celestia does go, then Leah and I are all that's left from Liurnia. So basically, all of the groundwork that I put in at the beginning, alliance building, will have been for nothing. And all I'll have to go on really are the relationships that I forged once we hit Gelmir. But like I said, Spyro and Quill have just kind of been grating on my nerves. Yesterday, there was a lot of preparation done for the challenge by basically everyone involved, um, with the glaring exception of Spyro, which it was fine because we ended up winning and he did fine in our heat without doing any prep. But it was just kind of annoying, the attitude. So we had to split up into 2 teams, and the 3x3 puzzles we went first. It was the people that were maybe not as confident about the more complex puzzles and or were not as confident about math skills. I feel decent with my math skills, but I also just don't love time-based things. I don't love having to race to complete things. Obviously, this was a speed-based situation, but if I'm doing a 4x4 puzzle for these pathomaths or whatever they're called, I enjoy doing them. It's just I don't enjoy the like plug and chug and the different combinations and the anxiety that can bring. So I was glad that we put some of our aces in for the 4x4s in Ochette and Leah and Conquer. And then 3x3, it was interesting because Ochette did so much groundwork with the challenge and kind of putting together a mechanism for us to be able to get to the solution as quickly as possible. And it might have been a little bit of overkill because I think Spyro didn't even end up using it and was the first one to buzz in with an answer to one of the puzzles. But I still think it was a good experience for the tribe just in camaraderie. Um, and so we're about to start the challenge. Aerith has just been, she barely had gotten any sleep because she'd flown to Denver from Nashville at like 4:30 in the morning. And then by the time she got in, she's doing breakfast. She goes to take a small nap and comes back and literally knows more about the challenge that we're about to do than Quilava and Spyro, who don't even understand that we're getting all these images at once. It's not going to be a sequence. It's going to be the 3 images. The 4 of us will all have access to all the images. So we need to assign one person for each puzzle. Spyro and Quill had it in their head that, oh, it's just going to be a sequence. Like, we'll solve one and then we'll get the next one. And that wasn't the case at all. And so Spyro made a comment about, oh, we'll find out when we get there. And it's kind of like, no, sir, we know now because and I know Augurs aren't the best at reading comprehension sometimes, but just the blasé attitude. It's like, I feel generally secure if we go back to tribal in this group of 8. And I feel like Spyro shouldn't, but I think he does because of this new PR Application Center alliance that he apparently has with Leah and Conquer. But I don't know. He's just, I think, still got it in his head that he has been unjustly targeted because of his marriage, and it's making him even more irritable than normal. And I mean, Spyro's usually a pretty snarky person, but I just feel like it's not really, the energy he's bringing is not really justified, in my opinion. Like, you need to calm down, sir. Like, Conquer is actually playing you like a fiddle, and you should want to take these challenges seriously because it's very likely you or Quilava going home if we go back in this group. You have an idol, that's nice, but you can't save both of yourselves. Ochette might vote with you, but we have more votes, and I trust the activists to keep a plan under wraps more than I trust Quilava and Spyro to correctly. I mean, Spyro's smart. He could probably correctly suss out what's happening, but I'm smart too, and I'm not afraid to lie to somebody that's not got my best interests in mind. He might just be covering his bases, but, if he is serious about his alliance, he's aligned with everybody in the tribe. He's got his 3-person alliance with Ochette, myself, the Scream Queens. He's apparently got busy people with Conquer and Aerith and Zag and himself. He's got a 4-person group with Quilava, Aerith, myself, and him. He's got a 3-person alliance with Ochette and Aerith and himself. So it's like, who are you planning to vote for if we go back to tribal? It has, just from the board that I'm looking at, it's got to be Aerith or me. And if he seriously thinks he's going to work with Conquer and Leah, he's not going to target Zag. I don't see a world where he targets Ochette. So it's very messy, and it's unnecessarily messy. Like, he doesn't need to be doing all of this. He's not playing a Puppet Master game. And it's just like, bestie, what are you doing? Like, you just chill. Like, we're good. It doesn't have to be this complicated. Um, so yeah, it was annoying. So I was happy to win immunity, but at the same time, I'm kind of bummed because I feel like it's fairly likely that we're gonna lose Celestia, and it's just kind of, it stings more that there's a good chance we're also merging right afterward. And I think I would rather play a merge with Celestia still in the game rather than um, Quill or Spy, if we could have accomplished getting one of them out. Um, so yeah, so it's been nice to kind of just have a night off, be able to relax, kind of shore things up for the merge. Had some conversations with Conquer. I think there are some plans to utilize the relationships that were on Limgrave to hopefully pull something off. So we'll have to see, because obviously Mouse and Daisy have extra votes. Geralt has an idol. Zero has an idol that I don't know how many people are aware of his idol, but he's certainly got it. And then who knows, maybe Mouse has an idol as well. That's kind of the biggest mystery to me. I feel like I generally know where all of the bodies are buried. So I'd be down to target Quill and Spy at the merge. I mean, Spyro's gone on about how Quill just wants to make the merge, so he can be the first merge boot, as far as I'm concerned. Spyro can. It's hard for me to feel a sense of loyalty to somebody that is just so all over the place. I just don't feel like he's really appreciated where Aerith and I have been coming from throughout the swap, and he's entitled to feel the way that he feels about the Quilava situation, but I think I'm more frustrated because I've been honest with him about my rationale for preferring Conquer and Zag over Quilava. And I also think it's frustrating that there are other people in the game that just assume that because I'm friends with Jay/Spyro that I'm just going to work with him and Quilava over other people in the group. It's just not how I want to operate. So anyway, I'm hoping maybe if Celestia goes, that we can maybe get Spyro, Quill, Nate, and I really don't know. I don't want to be super reliant on Zag and Conquer to stay in Aerith and I's corner, but it could get tough. So we'll see. In light of the fact that we might be merging soon, I did just queue up everybody left in today's tier list. And so this is going to be just kind of a trust and like to don't trust and would prefer to see go. S to D. So Aerith is S. My only qualm really continues to be like a selfish one, in that like she's busy like having a healthy life balance with this game. And for me, I'm just somebody that my mind is constantly racing when I'm in an org, constantly thinking through scenarios. That's why Ochette in particular is actually a really good ally to have, and I'm sorry we haven't been more on the same page here. But yeah, Aerith is not the kind of person that's gonna, cancel her plans to org. She's not gonna, ghost, but just she's gonna live her life, and I respect that about her. But she's definitely S tier in terms of kind of working relationships. She and I have been generally on the same page, I think, Really, the only thing that I didn't mention to Aerith was the extent of Celestia and I's alliance with Doom, which probably wouldn't have held up in the merge anyway. I guess there are some small silver linings in Doom being gone at this point. I don't think it would be an issue with Celestia, but really there's nothing that could come out about original Liurnia that would make me look like I've withheld anything from really anybody at this point, but Aerith in particular. Aerith has withheld some stuff from me. For instance, like she let Spyro tell me about his idol, but again, that's not a huge concern. I mean, it's the big things that tend to matter, and I feel like we've been on the same page about the big things. I feel like this is going to be an S heavy tier list. Celestia is probably toast, but love her dearly, and I'm hoping that there's a miracle that happens and that she makes it through. And if we merge tonight, I know she's going to be excited to see me because of her SOS message and just reading between the lines of the situation over there. Conquer is, I'm going to say an A. Love Conquer, but he does have a lot of options at this juncture. And so I need to keep him wanting to go the distance with me because I just get a little antsy when I'm completely reliant on other players to make sure that moves against me don't happen. That said, I think that Conquer is going to be a crucial relationship for me once we hit the merge. I've never played the game with Symmetra before. I know Evie well and we're dear friends, but at the same time, I can tell that Evie's playing her own game here. So I do feel like he's going to be a big person for me along with Zagreus when it comes to Zero. So a crucial relationship, S-level person, A-level trust-wise. Daisy is so confusing. I think I'm going to put her in C just because I think there may be some people below her in terms of workability in a merge, but I just don't know kind of what her master plan is for this game. It sounds like she's been somewhat influential in pushing a narrative of certain friend groups being together potentially, and seems to maybe be a big reason why Celestia, Banjo, and Doom were all in a bad spot over there. So yeah, I kind of view her as kind of at least the face of Lendl in terms of alliance structure, but those people aren't stupid. I think that they have options, and one thing about Daisy is there is some benefit in us both being in the game for the time being, given our winner status, because Cade went out first, Vivian went out third. Daisy, Ochette, and I are the only winners left, and I think it gets easy to hone in on that target if there's only a handful of us left. So if it's 3 in the final 15, doesn't seem as big of a deal as if there's 1 at the final 10. That said, overall, I don't know that it's that big of an issue. I mean, pretty much everybody left has won a game, as far as I know. I know Aerith's won games. I know Celestia's won many games. I believe Conquer has at least been a finalist slash runner up. Daisy, obviously, Evie's won games. Leah's won many games. Spyro just won a game. Symmetra has won games. Zag has won games. Zero's won games. So I think it would be kind of foolhardy to say, oh, this person's a winner. We've got to get them out because we're really all winners. So I don't know. That was just kind of my tangent. Obviously, I'm an S tier. It's always so weird putting myself in these, but just for the overall just kind of look of things, I like to include myself sometimes so that we can see all of the pieces on the board. Evie, again, a good friend outside of the game. Based on how they've been voting on Lendl, it seems like she's in some sort of affiliated group with basically the entire Lendl tribe minus Celestia. And who knows with Zero. Geralt, I think I'll put in D just because I know really nothing about him. It's nothing against him. Well, maybe I'll put him in C because the fact that it is a blank slate, like maybe it's workable there. Leah, I'm going to put Leah in C as well, just because not to be a pick-me, but I do feel like she could be a threat to my position in the long term, just given her relationship with Conquer. Conquer's told me that she's concerned about just playing his game and working with the people that he's working with. Apparently, she made a remark about only being close to Zag and I because of Conquer. And so I'm trying to foster genuine conversation with her, but I just worry that she's going to want to branch out eventually, and the merge is going to open up a lot of opportunities for her to do that. We both have known Mouse for a long time. That might be an opening for her. Another possibility. I don't know. I could be reading between the lines too much, but I don't know what community Geralt comes from, but I've seen him like some of Conquer's stuff in Tribal that talks about himself and Leah being close. So I don't know if there's like a friendly connection between the three of them from another community or what. So yeah, I feel like in the long run, it's tough because Leah's really, in a lot of ways, been the biggest cockroach of the season, just with her availability. But it's not a surprise because she's a very competent player. So the fact that she's still hanging on is not surprising, but it's still a little concerning. And I also feel like the further along that we kick the can down the road, just the more dangerous potential exists. As for Nate, Nate's going to be a D just because he seems like a D. I don't know. I was looking back at kind of the Carrie tribal, and I mean, maybe it was in jest. It didn't seem like she took it that personally, but he just seemed like a very sore winner and kind of not funny, like trying to be funny, but just coming across as kind of a bully. And I just think that he doesn't seem to be in the best spot, given the fact that he was essentially their backup plan if Carrie had had an idol then. And I don't know, you see the way that folks like Nate and Urbosa carry themselves, and then you juxtapose that with somebody like Steve, who is a complete class act and super gracious, and it just kind of is a turnoff. So Nate is definitely somebody that I would want to see go fairly early at the merge, but we'll see what happens. Ochette, I'm going to put in A just because love her to death, S tier person. Game-wise, we haven't really had a breakthrough. She was pretty frustrating during the Steve vote. Granted, I know it was tough for her, but just the way that she and Spyro were acting was very concerning. So I'm hopeful that maybe as the game progresses, there may be opportunities for us to work together genuinely closely. But we're not there yet. Quilava, I really do like Quilava, like as a person. Just in the game, he's just not doing it for me. I feel like he's better over voice note than he is over text. For instance, he'll say things without context to me, and I won't really know what he means. And I guess it's that he thinks he's told me things that he hasn't. For instance, I had no idea that Quill spent part of his life growing up in Italy and that his adoptive mother apparently is Italian. So knowing that now, it makes more sense that when he was, quote unquote, stranded in Venice, he sent me a map of where Venice was in Italy. And then there was also a star that he referred to as home. And I'm like, sir, aren't you from Texas? I didn't ask him because it was just so strange in the moment. But now I think I did ask him, and he didn't even elaborate on it in the moment. But I was just confused because I'm like, sir, you live in Texas with your husband. Like, you have a home in Italy. Is it just a place that you like to visit? But I think that's where he has spent part of his upbringing, is kind of wherever that was. It, I don't know if it was Rome necessarily or what, but it was just, all of that is to say, my point is that I think that he's just a little bit awkward over text. And that definitely translates into game talk. Like the way that he was suddenly super pro Leah near the end of the deadline for the Steve vote, and just asking him why he was. And I mean, it was just kind of clear that there was a shift. Something had happened, and then having confirmation later on that Leah had brought him and Spyro into an alliance with Conquer, and suddenly everyone is such a big Leah fan. So awfully convenient. Mouse, I'm going to put Mouse in a B because I think that that's another relationship that I might be able to parlay at a merge to keep myself out of harm's way during any initial slaughter. Spyro's also going to be C, just based on kind of everything else that I've talked about so far. Symmetra, I wish there was a category between B and C. I'm going in kind of cold turkey in the same sense that I am with Geralt's. I don't know, maybe there could be an opening if Zag and Conk can put in a good word for me. So I'm going to optimistically put Sim in B. But we've spent, God, it's day 27 now? And we won't be potentially meeting until tonight or even later. I feel like after a month of playing a game with people, it can be hard to branch out and make new connections that will actually impact the direction of the game. But we'll see. Zag is an A as well. Do trust Zag a lot. Zag's super busy. I mean, he has a demanding job. It's funny, I feel like that's the drawback with my alliance, is that I want to talk about stuff all the time, and like they have lives. And so yesterday I was like telling Zag what I say. I said something about just kind of like being a little bit like sketched out by all of the information that we'd been brought. And he thought maybe I was referring to Conquer at first. And I was like, no, no, I feel good about Conquer. It's just that Spyro's fingerprints are all over the tribe. And Zach's just like, yeah, I don't really care because we have our four and the extra vote. So we don't have anything to worry about unless an idol play happens. And yes, that's true. It's like my self-soothing is talking through like the options that we have, even if it's just going to be a straightforward blind side of Spyro. I still want to talk about it, just because, like I said, self-soothing. Um, Zero, I'm going to put in C with an option to move up, just because he's been talking shit for the hell of it. And like Daisy, I don't know what's going on there, but I do think that could change. Um, Feels tough though with the Aerith Zero situation. That being that they just are not super compatible playing wise. I don't feel like Aerith is going to want to buckle in with Zero. Um, and I know that Spyro also isn't looking forward to Zero. And as for the two of them, I say let them fight. So yeah, this has been another long rambling update. It's probably going to end with Celestia going, I would say likely merge, although I would rather another single or even another double before we merge, just because I would like Lendell to have to go and potentially spend some of the cash of prizes that they all have. So yeah, so stay tuned. This has been another Dixie update, and I will talk to y'all soon.